Welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Ava risks Tripp and Wendy's lives. Days of Our Lives see Ava taking a huge threat as her concession puts multiple loved bones in peril. What you gonna do when they come for you? Thanks to their prisoner, Ava entered a videotape communication from Tripp and Wendy advising her not to go to the police for help and, rather, to do whatever Clyde demands of her. But that wasn't the last she heard from Clyde. He'd a new order break him out of jail. So Ava wouldn't go to the police about that bone. But she'll go to Stephen Nichols, check out his peep behind the scenes then, and John to tell them all about it. Which is the letter of the law, but not exactly the spirit. Will they help her do it to save Tripp and Wendy's lives? Another day, another fortune. Meanwhile, Stefan attempts to deal with the extremity by doing some murmuring of his own. He turns to his family, EJ. Our question is, will Stefan ask for EJ's help as the current district attorney of Salem or as a fellow DiMera? Because if it's the former, what can EJ do? Put Clyde more in jail? The villain has easily proven there's veritably little the law can do to stop him. Still, if Stefan is appealing to EJ as a DiMera, well, in that case, there's plenitude they can do to silence their adversaries. For good. Sense is like home to me, and speaking of jail, Lucas was in one. Also, he turned snitch on Clyde and was out and living at the Brady pub. Because who would ever suppose to look for him where his mama lives? Bonkers, right? Also, he'd to be moved again. Now Kate and Roman are visiting him there. Because who would ever suppose to look for Lucas by following his mama and seeing where she goes? That would be bonkers, right? Bring on the bonkers! Tripp's oxygen crisis, Holly interrogated, Goldman exposed, Clyde's captivity break. Days of Our Lives are in. Tripp Johnson and Wendy Shin are still internees but start to run out of air. Holly Jonas is questioned by two different people, independently. Harris Michaels cautions Rafe Hernandez about Officer Goldman. Meanwhile, Lucas Horton gets callers while a plan is made to break Clyde Weston out of captivity. Days of Our Lives. Tripp Johnson and Wendy Shin's oxygen danger. DOL spoilers for the week of March 4th reveal that Ava Vitali will admit another claim from Clyde. Days of Our Lives. Tripp's oxygen crisis, Holly interrogated, Goldman exposed, Clyde's captivity break. Ava relays the details to John Black and Steve Johnson. Over with Tripp and Wendy, they're still held hostage. Still, there will be a new peril for the hostages. Tripp and Wendy will begin to run out of oxygen. DOL spoilers, Holly Jonas grilled. Holly eventually woke up from her coma. Holly claims she doesn't recall taking medicines. Still, Holly also has no indication that her conduct led to Tate Black being criticized. Tate not only was thrown in jail and got beat up, but also had to go to recovery as well as a halfway house for independence he doesn't indeed have. Holly got an redundant cure of shamefaced when she eavesdropped Nicole Walker DiMera tell EJ DiMera about failing as a mama. There's a chance that Holly could make effects right. Eric Brady visits Holly during the week of March 4th. Meanwhile, Brady Black pleads with Nicole to let him question Holly. Days of Our Lives. Rafe Hernandez's discovery. Days of Our Lives reveal that Harris tells Rafe precious information. Harris informs Rafe about the identity of the Dirty Bobby. Once Rafe finds out Officer Goldman is the operative, what happens coming? DOL Paulina Price's medical condition gets indeed worse. Everett Lynch confides in Julie Williams. Roman Brady and Chad DiMera talk about Stephanie Johnson while giving Julie a helping hand at the Horton house. Plus, Lucas gets two callers after moving to a new safe house. Is this really the stylish idea, however? Away, Tate and Teresa Donovan go over the case with Sloan Peterson. Leo Stark gets to babysit Jude Brady. Meanwhile, the charge to break Clyde Weston out of Statesville is put into action. Appearances and goings. Jessica Surfety out, Alani stay close. Days of Our Lives reveal that there's plenitude to talk about when it comes to doorway and exit in Salem. Let's find out who's coming and who's going this week on your favorite day drama. DOL brings back Alani suckers will be happy to hear that Sal Stowers and Lamont Archie are still in city as Lonnie and Eli Grant. They arrived last week just in time to see Paulina Prince in the sanitarium. Unfortunately, her condition came more serious and she may need a heart transplant. Spoiler alert: some suckers are induced that Harris Michaels will contribute his heart to Paulina. Burton has departed DOL and is returning to his part as Jason Morgan on ABC's General Hospital on March 4th. Tell us what you suppose of this scuttlebutt, DOL suckers. John's Katharina riddle in Greece flies to Aria on mission to clear name. Days of Our Lives reveal that Konstantin Melianis hopes to retaliate Katharina and eventually get some satisfaction after all these times. The loss of Konstantin's son has visited him for quite some time, but now he feels like he has a chance at justice. Still, effects may not be as straightforward as they feel when it comes to what went down in Greece decades ago. Konstantin was unconscious when the pawn apparently pulled the detector on Katharina, and Steve Johnson didn't directly substantiation it. Moreover, Steve was off taking a phone call and simply came back to the horrible outgrowth, so it's suspicious that no bone actually saw the pawn cause Katharina's grim fate. That clearly leaves some twitch room when it comes to who's responsible for Katharina's demise. Still, also Steve presumably would watch the whole thing unfold if this day's plot was simply about brainwashed John Black taking out an innocent girl. Rather, commodity about the story doesn't sit right, and John may feel that way once he eventually gets updates on what Steve's been hiding. Whether Steve comes clean or Konstantin tells John the verity for him, John may struggle to believe he was able of that, indeed when he was programmed to be someone so dangerous. Nearly deep in John's soul, he may suspect there's more going on then. John may come hung up with clearing his name since down the road days spoilers say he'll fly to Aria in expedience of doing just that. DOL suckers know John has been scuffling with his history, so he realizes he must committed some terrible crimes and other transgressions. As a way to manage with that, John may come determined to prove that although he was a brainwashed eminence at the time, he didn't do this one insupportable thing. In other words, John may have taken numerous lives as the pawn, but day's spoilers suggest perhaps someone differently was to condemn for Katharina's sad fate. Will John be suitable to prove that? Formerly he heads to Greece and digs into this riddle? Who's truly responsible for taking out Konstantin's son, and will John eventually experience total recall? Days of Our Lives spoilers say John will seek answers and may have some stunning news for Konstantin sooner or laterly. The shocking paragraph begins with Ava's enigmatic decision, an audacious move that casts a shadow over the lives of Tripp and Wendy. As the city's residers grapple with the impacts of Ava's conduct, Salem becomes a gauntlet of suspension and expectation. The cleaner piece's kidney, known for its capability to draft compelling stories, excels in this moment of jacked drama where lives hang in the balance. Ava, a character with a partiality for conspiracy and calculated threat, navigates an unfaithful path that challenges not only her own fate but also the fates of those entangled in her web. The shocking paragraph delves into the provocations behind Ava's adventure, leaving observers on the edge of their seats as they essay to decrypt the riddle that drives this complex character. Tripp Dalton and Wendy Taylor, unknowing pawns in Ava's dangerous game, find themselves thrust into a dangerous situation that defies their prospects. The narrative pressure escalates as Salem's residers substantiation the unfolding consequences of Ava's adventure, their fates entwined in a plot that promises to deliver emotional twists and turns. As the shocking paragraph unfolds, the city of Salem becomes oil for the disquisition of moral nebulosity, fidelity, and the consequences of one woman's daring choices. Observers are left to consider the changeable circles that Ava's conduct set into stir, questioning the boundaries between right and wrong in a world where deception and threat are woven into the veritably fabric of the narrative. The impacts of Ava's adventure ripple through Salem, leaving the city in a state of collaborative suspension. Tripp and Wendy's lives hang in the balance, their fates shaped by the calculated pitfalls of a woman whose motives remain shrouded in riddle. The cleaner piece's kidney, celebrated for its capability to keep cult on the edge of their seats, excels in this shocking paragraph that lays the route for an engaging sequence of events with far-reaching